Latifa Ahmed, allow me say or acknowledge the fact that you are smart.
Oh, thank you, Simon Chris Makanga. You don't look too bad yourself. How was your weekend?
My weekend was fabulous. I was here on a Sunday with STV and Mbuga.
Oh, I watched Mbuga. I sat home and I watched Mbuga. I really, how do I say it? I'm looking for the right word. Adore is not a good enough word. But the way you run that show, with Tamale Mirundi talking in the background while you're introducing.
It's a competition of words all the time.
I saw it and I'm like, I respect Chris for running the Tamale Mirundi show. It is exceedingly exhausting, I can imagine.
Now, surprisingly, shortly after that, here, as he was sloping down, he kept on ranting. From the time the show ended, he was ranting about several things. Even up to when he entered his car, he was still ranting and hitting his head. So one security guy calls me and is like, hey, Chris, how do you deal with it?
I know. You seem to really know how to deal with him. But here's the thing. See, one thing about Tamale Mirundi is he rants, yes. But he seems to be the prophet of doom.
I know.
What he says comes true. I like when he was talking about the theft that is ongoing. There were a number of commissions in the government and parliamentary sector who were trying to steal some money. And he was warning them, he was looking into the camera, and he was saying, Mbamani, ngenda ku social media, ngenda bakuba. Okay, now that is Tamale Mirundi. Well, all that and more, you find it on STV. We have a lot that comes your way every day with the programming that helps you stick to the screen regardless of what you want to do with your day.
Absolutely, yes. As we are going to be sailing together, you and I, in the river of current affairs, we shall have sports in it. And then in this river, we shall also speak about the lifestyle. And then firstly, we are going to be speaking about today's price review. And we shall have two dailies, one New Vision and the other one is Daily Monitor. But before we do go there, Latifa Ahmed, there's no way we can start a show without inquiring from you, how was your Valentine's?
Did you see me in the morning with the full-fledged makeup? That should only tell
you didn't change nothing.
I wasn't at home. Like, my Valentine's wasn't spent indoors doing nothing. And I would put it on my right, not my left, because of how I do stuff. See, my watch is on my right. A lot of people put it on my left. But, I mean, Chris wants me to announce the fact that I thought
somebody did it.
Oh, no, not now. And that's not a discussion for onset. Legally, it's not a discussion for onset. I could sue you. I could sue you for bringing my private life on screen.
No.
So let's concentrate
Why do you call it private?
The first show. No, it is private because why would I want to put my business out there for everybody to know? I appreciate for my business to be mine. So that's exactly what it is. Well, Hasif Sechunga has our dailies. Hasif, please bring our dailies forward so we can start this particular show with the dailies.
And this reminds me of, I don't know, the problem we have in Africa is that Kati producer Racha could be short. This is a problem we have in Africa.
And what is that?
We follow systems. What is so wrong with the gentleman bring me the papers? You don't need to change the show. Let me just bring the papers, open them, and let's see.
Ladies
Today I'm holding today's Daily Monitor. Yes, I'm breaking the system. And the headlining story, Museveni aide asks for unmarked guns. Oh, okay.
How long have we been trying to bring gun control in Uganda? Because I know the fight is actually not in Uganda, but in the US over gun control. And we know that Karamoja is one of those regions with the biggest amount of guns that are loose. Recently, we had cattle rustling, and they were blaming it on the recent prison break that happened in Karamoja early last year. And they were saying that the guns that, of course, Prison Break went out with, they didn't get all of them, although they got almost 3/4 of them. And the question is, how do we get those guns back? You know, they've tried to get them back, but how much more do we? Remember when they were trying to remove guns from the hand of the Karamojong people? There was also the situation where they were telling people, bring back the guns, please bring back the guns. But the Karamojong was saying, the Kenyans are attacking us with our cattle. How do we bring back our guns when we need them for protection? So they had that particular issue of how do they protect themselves when they give back the guns.
How about the government?
We also have officials who have guns. Some of them unregistered, some of them registered. But the only way to control gun usage in our country is to have them marked. Someone, Chris, has a gun. What is the number, even if it's a private gun? One, do you know how to use it for starters? Because I know people who don't know how to use guns. They're not licensed on how to use guns, but they can go bribe and get the gun out. But how do we know that this gun is the one that shot this person if it is not marked? So we need to try our best to see that all guns and bullets are marked, so that even in the November 18th, the chaos that happened, once I'm a police officer and I shoot someone, say stray bullet, because I mean we're taught how to avoid stray bullets. So there's a stray bullet that shot someone. What is the number of that bullet? Whose gun did it come from? Then the investigations can happen, and then we figure out what was he doing at the time that he was firing that shot. So I think it helps for that to happen.
Well, the last time I checked, I think it was in 2000, early or late 2018, I interviewed the then police spokesperson, Afande Kaima, in regards to the misuse of guns in this country.
That's a very important conversation.
And we spoke about, because before there was a story that ran in the dailies saying that there was going to be a process of registering all guns in the way of reducing illegal guns in illegal hands. Okay, so my question was, how far was the process? He told me that the process was ongoing, though as security briefs, they cannot tell how many guns the government has. But it was a process, I was pretty sure that it was in favor of reducing guns in the illegal hands.
In the hands of civilians.
Absolutely. Anyway, as we do proceed, or as we do move on with today's dailies, like I said, the headlining story on today's Daily Monitor is Museveni aide asks for unmarked guns. And there's a picture of Major General Muhoozi, and then there is also a picture of Major Ronald Kakoza Mutale. And it says that it is my duty to remind you that some covert operations do require engraved arms for purposes of undercover operations, of which my unit undertakes from time to time, especially undercover detection and investigations of counterinsurgency. That is what Major Ronald Kakoza Mutale says. And then this story also did feature on page number 4 and 5 about the unmarked guns. That's a process that is going on. I do remember even when the newly appointed Deputy Inspector General of Police, Major General Paul Lokech, talked about those guns that are in illegal hands. He talked about being registered and also spoke about the government officials who mistreat bodyguards. So that story could be in line with that. Tifa, what do you have?
Well, let's go to the New Vision, of course, and see what they're telling us. Government to recruit over 600 health workers. Are they going to be paid? Is the question that you ought to ask yourselves. And of course, the main story right here on the daily is Museveni orders security on arrested people. Now, Museveni is telling security personnel to release the names of the arrested people so that these families are not worried about the people. That will be our topic of discussion with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni during his speech, saying that the NRM and the government and security agencies are responsible for the abductions of the people who are missing, and there's no need to worry. But with that particular session and that talk and that speech of the president, is there need to worry? Or actually there's no need to worry. We'll be discussing that, of course, on our TOD, and we can see that some of the names have been put in the dailies: Fred Kamya, Junior Chiveru, Juma Mukasa. Now those stories are there in the dailies, as we see that also as we move forward in the stories in the dailies, we also see that some of the people that were abducted have been released. They say security releases 17 Mukono suspects. So 17 people have been able to go back home, and that is on page 4, where they talk about Museveni's order security to name detained group, and security releases 17 Mukono suspects. So maybe now that the president has talked about it, more people will surface. As we're still looking at the dailies, of course, we have your Member of Parliament-elect, and today we have Rebecca Kadaga and Godfrey Sazi and Atima Libuti Jackson. So we know that, of course, when we talk of Atima, we're talking about Jackson. He's from Arua Central Division, and then Godfrey Sazi is from Gomba East, and Rebecca Kadaga, of course, is from Kamuli. And today in history, they have Besigye calls for a New Vision boycott. I like how they got that one in their papers. Now, as we're moving forward with reading the dailies, I don't want you to forget that COVID-19 is in existence. COVID-19 is real and COVID-19 is there. Now in Uganda right now, we look at a number of 40,019 total cases. Total deaths are 328. Total recoveries are 14,520. Now all that information is right here. Simon Chris Makanga, what do we have?
Well, today on my other interest of a story is on page number 3 of today's Daily Monitor. Children vending on streets amid school closure. We do know that schools for semi-candidates will be open on the 1st of March. So now the fundamental question still remains that as schools prepare to reopen on the 1st of March, some students have resorted to vending different products. Some teachers have also resorted to daily income jobs. How will the ministry get them off the daily income jobs to monthly pay that sometimes even takes long to drop onto their accounts? That is a question. However, children have resorted to vending. This is a story that is on page number 3 on today's Daily Monitor. You can as well buy yourself a copy and read more in regards to that. Okay, universities release reopening plan. That is on today's Daily Monitor. In case you are a student and wondering when and how the schools will be reopening, buy yourself a copy and read more. Museveni Aid asks for unmarked guns. This story is also on today's Daily Monitor, like I said. The order came despite President Museveni's June 8, 2018 directive that all guns be fingerprinted to stem abuse or use by criminals. Like I said, the registering of guns. When I was still introducing this, the press review, I said that it was in 2018 when the president of Uganda talked about the registering of guns. Okay, there is a list of lawyers that are going to appear in the election petition that was petitioned by National Unity Platform lawyers directed by its president, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. There is a list of lawyers that are going to represent the Attorney General, a list of lawyers that are going to represent the Electoral Commission and NUP. Okay, if I flip to page number 8, okay, alarm as air pollution levels exceed World Health Organization limit. Tifa, what do you have?
Well, when we look at page 3 of the New Vision, we have 20 ghost police officers arrested on payday. Payday has arrived for them, and unfortunately, we know what happens. Some people die and it's not updated. Some people are no longer in existence, no longer updated. And we see that there were a lot of ghost police officers that were being paid, and the question is, where does all this money go for? So 20 names were gotten out of the list, and we know that those names are no longer there. Now, as we look at what the roles of Parliament, it's also in the dailies, and that is very, very important for all of us to know what the roles of our members of Parliament are. And here we see legislation, budget approval, oversight, and representation. Those are the 4 main roles of your member of Parliament. And then as we move forward, of course, we see that Kyagulanyi filed 50 affidavits. We know that on the 14th of February, while some of us were celebrating Valentine's, Kyagulanyi had to file an affidavit. And I remember telling you that an affidavit is a sworn statement by, of course, Kyagulanyi's lawyers that were supposed to be given to the other lawyers of Electoral Commission, of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and of course of the other party. Now, when we look at this, we have seen that the witness evidence was there, the declarations were there, the Kabuleta affidavit was there, Gerald Karuhanga affidavit were there, and all of those 50 in total were given to the court and the lawyers of the other side. And we also see that the new districts miss out on road construction unit. Now, each district is supposed to receive 1 motor grader, 1 Vibo roller, 1 wheel loader, 1 motor bowser, and 2 dump trucks. And 2 of them is out on that, plus a road construction unit. And we also see that government has earmarked 11 billion Ugandan shillings for tobacco farmers. Now, that comes as good news for tobacco farmers, or farmers in general, because government is trying its best to see that they put a lot of money in farming, because we know farming has always been the backbone of this country. Simon Chris.
All right, so if you have ever used Viagra, I don't know, this is the first time I look at the Viagra. Have you ever seen a picture of Viagra?
Okay, let me look at it. It's blue in color. Okay.
Hey, okay, you had not seen the
No,
picture of
I
Viagra.
didn't know
Okay,
what it looked like.
so now if you have ever used Viagra, so experts are warning against the use of that particular drug in women, citing several factors, including someone's age. So if you have been using Viagra, ladies and gentlemen, it's high time you stop
women?
because. Yeah, the warning.
I thought Viagra was a manly thing.
I thought so, but now the
We've been
experts
proved
are
wrong.
warning women who are using Viagra. So if you want to read the repercussions or the effects in regards to that, better buy yourself a copy so that you can read more. Okay, they're also telling you about the kind of foods you should eat in order to boost your immunity. And there are quite a number of vegetables, but the best thing they're trying to say is that don't cook them too much. Just cook them for a short while, and then they'll be able to, they'll do wonders for your body. Page number, okay, let me flip. This is my story of interest. COVID-19 uncertainty over pre-primary education. We do remember last week, the Minister for Education, and who also happens to be the First Lady of this country, Honorable Janet Katam Seven, talked about the future of education in this country. And here, she announced that semi-candidates will be reporting to school on the 1st of March. And other classes will also join, including Primary 1, P3, P4, P5, Senior 2, Senior 3, Senior 2, Senior 1, and other classes will be opening. But they will be going for about some 8 weeks, others 10 weeks. And pre-primary, talking about nursery or kindergarten, were put on hold until kids make 5 years. This has been a story that got streets talking all the time. And many have been wondering that we have students who are at the university, okay? Almost soon graduating to become kindergarten or nursery teachers. What are they going to do? They've spent years at the university. And now their job seems to be, okay. We have schools that only have kindergarten section that prepares kids for primary level or primary education. Those schools operate on loans. How are they going to deal with the loans? There are lots of questions in regards to that. So we do believe and trust that the Ministry of Education should come out and rectify that. Okay. Tifa, take us through New Vision. What other story do you have?
When we look at what is happening in the New Vision, government is to set up export certification body for those who are interested in exports and who are involved in the exportation of this country. We know that among the non-tariff barriers is the lack of accreditation of conformity assessment bodies in the country, and that is what the government is trying to put in place. And then Yala calls for urgent action on Lake Victoria. They're looking at having laws that, what they call laws that on policies of partner states pertaining the Lake Victoria basin. So that's what they're trying to do. And then we see that Captain Businje walked in her father's footsteps. Remember that Carol Businje died in the crash that happened right here in Entebbe as they left the base, not far away from the base, and they say that is due to mechanical issues, and she becomes the female pilot, the second female pilot to die in such crashes. Moving forward, we see that more Ugandans are embracing civil marriages. Are you among those Ugandans that are embracing civil marriages? We also see that over 160 military police officers graduate. A lot of people will be scared about that, but some will be celebrating, because we all know that security is one of the sectors that are highly how do they call it? They're highly paid, or their budget is quite big in Uganda. We also see that IGG calls for anti-corruption committees in government entities.
Well, as I almost wind up with today's Daily Monitor, there's a story that also did feature on page number 32, saying that how prepared are schools for semi-candidate classes. And some private schools have asked government for support so that they can implement some of the standard operating procedures. And last time we did cover a story of teachers under private schools who almost wanted to protest against the money that was promised to them by the president. In one of his addresses to the nation, he promised to open a circle for private teachers, and he opened that circle with 22 billion shillings. And then later, he instructed the Minister for Finance, Honorable Mateka Saija, to also add some money which was which summed up to about 20 billion. So the whole total was 22 billion. So teachers have not received that money. The president also promised about 1 trillion to private schools, to support private schools. But still, that money hasn't been released. So the question is, who should follow up on the President Museveni's promises? To my knowledge, I do know that it's a Minister for Presidency. Honorable Esther Mbayo is in charge. She's in charge of that. So let that money come out, because we do know that they have been greatly affected by the pandemic.
Well, as we're looking at the New Vision and what is going on, there's a picture here, very interesting and funny picture, where Deputy Speaker Olanya is holding divorce papers in his hands, while Rebecca Kadaga is saying, "I will not allow you near my desk because you might go to Germany for another BMW diggy without my permission again." And then Olanya is saying, "Women, women, women. I flew one from home to take refuge in the office only to find another one in office." Well, that's a very funny comment. And down, of course, it says, Speaker Rebecca Kadaga has explained why she has rendered her deputy, Jacob Olanya, literally redundant, and why she thinks he cannot take the speakership position. We also have, of course, your pull-out, which is the health pull-out. Health and beauty is what they call it, and that's a very interesting one for me. Now, as we are moving forward with the New Vision, we also have the international page, where when we see what is happening in the international, of course, before we go there, government releases 300 million for theatre at Ober Health Center. And Museveni promises in his inauguration speech, or his speech, once he was elected, that one of the sectors that he will be pumping more money in is the health sector, while Malaba residents cry out over low businesses. Of course, COVID-19 has hit not only Kampala, but the whole of Uganda, and people are just trying to survive in businesses. Chris.
Okay. We do remember, I think you also do remember the story we did a couple of months ago, where some staff from Stanbic Bank were dragged in court over misuse of their clients' properties. Now, court ruled, I think last week, that Stanbic staff illegally sold themselves clients' properties, and that was ruling that was made by court. This story is on page number 36 on today's Daily Monitor. Okay, mobile money transactions hit all-time high in December. Okay, data from Bank of Uganda indicates that the value of mobile money transactions grew by 28.2% in 2020, while number of transactions grew by 25% during the same period. So, that story is on page number 37. Private sector seeks to partner with government to promote agro-tourism. There's a story I'm trying to look for, but I can't find it. The story of a list of names as instructed by the president of Uganda on Saturday. He talked about, he directed security officials to table down a list of all those Ugandans that were allegedly been missing. So apparently that list, I can't find it. Me, I'm not seeing it in Daily Monitor. It's in the New Vision.
Well, they don't have to write the same stories. New Vision has that story, and the list of people has come out, and I have been reading the list of people in the beginning, and we know that it has.
Read for me about 7 names.
I've already read them. You're taking me back 7, Chris.
I have a few people of mine that are missing.
I'll give you the paper later. As we move forward in the court section of the New Vision, Chief Justices issue new guidelines on land eviction. We know Uganda has had the biggest problem on land eviction and land ruggles, and we're seeing that the court is trying to solve that as quick as possible. We also see that the IGG is told to pursue ex-parliament's boss over 822 million. And also Koto K's 23.8 billion city tycoons property case. And all those stories are right here in the paper. And we'll go to the international segment, We have Trump's acquittal. If we watch the news this weekend, Trump was acquitted of course, attacking the Capitol building, and 57 of them said no to his acquittal, while 47 said yes to them. However, the 57 was not good enough to charge him, and they said, how many times will you charge him? I mean, he's already not the president, so why put him under acquittal if he's not the president? However, what we know is accepting that there's no acquittal on Donald Trump only says that he can come back and contest as the president of the United States. And they ask, what next for Trump, the Republican Party, and Biden? And we also see that Trump's journey from election defeat to acquittal is also there if you want to understand what is happening in the international scene. And finally, when we look at what is happening in the New Vision in the sports part, how did I miss it is the question that they're asking, while the picture of a very proud Joshua Cheptegei is here, as they're saying, Cheptegei off to a winning start in the Monaco run.
All right, the same story also did feature in today's Daily Monitor, as they also congratulate Cheptegei's win in a Monaco 5-kilometer run, and also Man City extend lead to 7 points as Leicester stand in Liverpool. That's it that we did have for you on today's Fast Press Review. And for now, allow us say bye-bye to the press review, and
Simon,
unless if you have something that...
Fred Kamia Yuria, Junior Chiberu, Juma Mukasa, Isma, Senkubuge, Twaha, Kajimu, Joseph, Chakua, and the other name, then Musa Male and Muhammad Nahiru are some of the names that came on the front page. However, if you open, more names are there, plus the ones that were released in Mukono. Hopefully,
17 were released in Mukono.
Yeah, hopefully you'll hear the names of your loved ones. Hopefully you'll be able to know where they are and you'll be safe. However, the stories of the people that were abducted are so gruesome. And of course, we'll be discussing it later on in the topic of discussion, and we'll have you call us and tell us what you think, or whether what the president says makes you feel safe or actually makes you get scared the more to know that the people that are supposed to protect
and the
us
questions surrounding around
exactly. He didn't answer the questions that people wanted. He only gave us the NRM cannot have questions and answered, the government of NRM. We'll be discussing that in detail. Now, of course,